welcome to Creators Gaming. Today we're going to add on to our shipwreck by adding our anchor using items that I think most of us would have in our crafting supplies. And if not, you can get it for less than $1. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get to it. To start off with, we're going to be using a scrap piece of cardboard. This came from one of our Amazon boxes, if I remember correctly. I'm just going to draw out a rough shape and then cut it to size. It doesn't have to be perfect because we don't really have a certain size in mind for this project. We're winging it. And I am going to do what I did in a similar project before when I did the scattered terrain for the underwater scenes, where I'm going to double stack the cardboard. Now I can use the XPS foam in the background that you see there, but this is cheaper and I don't have to breathe in the fumes. With the added bonus that I can black balm it later and not have to worry about it melting the XPS foam. Next step, we're going to be doing the gluing. And I like using my hot glue gun. It's so much faster than the silly tacky glue. I hate tacky glue, in case you haven't figured that out by now.
We're going to go ahead and pause the video right here to remind you that you can become a Patreon or buy us a coffee. All proceeds go towards furthering the channel and buying supplies. If you help out, you do get a shout out.
Next part of this project, we're going to be using pasta noodles, probably the most expensive part of this entire project. Cutting them to size to where they're somewhat level. They don't have to be perfect. It's probably best if they're not, and then we're going to hot glue those suckers down. And similar to other projects, I am going to group them into threes, because if it's even numbers, which I would prefer even numbers, it just looks weird. So we're just going to do this, and we're going to use a couple pieces of the broken shells as well. I'm also going to use a little bit of hot glue around the corrugated cardboard where it looks a little less like cardboard and more like something that you'd see underwater. Trying to make it look like rocks, which it will when we're finished. Also on the large pieces of cardboard, I am going to do a little bit of a design work there. Nothing too spectacular, just little zigzags. I think it kind of breaks it up a little bit. On to the next part, the anchor. We're going to be using a matchstick and slightly breaking, not completely all the way through, just enough to where it bends. And then we're going to reinforce that with some hot glue. And here I'm just cutting off the tips of where it's a little bit more anchor shape-ish, I guess. I'm not quite sure. It seemed like the thing to do, so that's what we did. I think it also adds to the piece to where we don't have to use as much wood, which cheaper I am for. I don't like spending a whole lot, so this is good. Cheap is good. To build up a little bit more glue here in the corners. For one, it reinforces it, and two, it makes it look like it's a little bigger. Also, a gentle reminder, make sure you're using a low heat gun where you don't burn your poor little fingers. At this point, I'm just going to place my anchor on where it's going to forever be because I'm using my hot glue. But it's not going to go anywhere once it's glued down, so that's what we're going for. Now, I am going to use a popsicle stick to kind of make it look like broken pieces of the ship that have fallen down and landed close by to the anchor itself. I'm just trying to decide on placement. Boop. And just a touch of hot glue for reinforcements where it's not going to go anywhere. After hitting it with our black rattle can, matte finish of course, we're going to go ahead and hit it with some brown oxide. And again, this is another matte finish. We are using acrylics. Like I say, in almost all of my videos, it does go on brighter than it dries, which you will see later. It's totally fine because we can always go back and dry brush it later. At the moment, I just want the brown bits to be brown. And then we're going to do the little spots here or there on the wood itself to kind of bring out some details. I just have to remind myself that less is more and not go overboard, which I am want to do. With that done, we're going to use some old off-white that I have. This is some of my husband's collection. I do not know how old this is or what the real name is, but we're going to slather some of that onto our shells. The purpose of doing this is once I go over it later with some purple, it really stands out and it's not too dull because I want the purple to kind of be bright. And then we're also, with the same color, going to be doing some dry brushing, as you can see here, to really bring out some more. And don't worry if it do a little heavy-handed like I just did there. I'm going to go back over that with some brown oxide to kind of cover it up just a smidge. And if all else fails, we can always cover it up with some foliage, aka plastic plants that I bought from Dollar Tree. Alright, so next up we are going to do a little bit more dry brushing, but this time in a Kelly green. It is also a matte finish. I'm going to attempt to not overdo it. Just remember that a little bit goes a long way. Right, so now time to add some color to my shells. Now I'm going to use the cap, that way I don't waste a whole bunch of purple paint. The shade is called Royal Violet. It is another matte finish paint, also another acrylic, so it will dry a little darker than what it's going on as. Or at least it would had I not base coat the shells in a lighter color to begin with, because I want them to be bright. Special. How to cover up my boo-boos and to add to the aesthetics. We're going to go ahead and use the plastic aquatic plants. Some of them are not aquatic plants. I bought some of them from the Dollar Tree, and this is just the leftovers from other projects. We're going to be using some moss that I'm probably never going to use again because it does not hold together. I don't like it. Sticks it right up there with tacky glue. There's no rhyme or reason on where I'm putting the plants, really. I'm just trying to cover up some of the big paint globs that I put on there and to kind of break it up a little. I want it to look natural and like it's been sitting there for a while. I think I achieved my goal. So for the rope that snapped when the anchor fell, I could not find my twine, so I'm using yarn. You can really use whatever you have handy. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going to first glue a little bit down on the anchor itself and kind of twist it around where it looks like it fell naturally. Inside it would have probably looked even better if I had used a lighter color yarn, but I'm lazy and didn't feel like going through all my skeins of yarn that I have in the cabinet, not 3 feet away from where I'm doing this project. And because most of my underwater stuff has seashells, I am going to add 3 to this project as well. And again, I'm using an odd number because it looks more natural. I really don't like odd numbers, but we are stuck doing this anyway. Maybe I'll go back in later and sneak a different shell in there. We'll see. In comparison of the earlier project that I did, I don't think it looks too shabby. That you want a close-up? Well, you got it. I like it. Looks so good. Well, there you have it. Super easy, really quick, super cheap, which we like. If you like the video, please hit the like, subscribe, share the video. It helps out a whole lot, and I hope to see y'all again next Friday. Bye.